Well, November is National Diabetes Awareness Month, and it's a disease that affects tens of millions of Americans, including about 1.5 million who will be diagnosed this year alone.
And our next guest is living with type 1 diabetes, so she knows the importance of keeping our blood sugar levels in check. Registered dietitian Mary Ellen Phipps. You know her with Milk and Honey Nutrition. She's here with easy swaps we can make in our diets. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And this is a big deal. I think people forget because it's a manageable disease. It really is life-threatening as well.
Right, and especially for people with type 1 diabetes or advanced type 2, you're making hour-by-hour decisions that have kind of a life or death consequence if you get it wrong, and so it can be a very mentally taxing disease as well.
And by the way, you have 3 family members that have type 1 diabetes as well. So when you start kind of trying to manage not only the disease, but menus and things like that, I think we all can gain something from this.
Right, and so, you know, these are tips that are great for people living with diabetes, but I think we all could benefit if we ate like we had diabetes, to be honest. So it's blood sugar stabilizing, promoting healthy fats, getting that quality fiber, quality lean protein, things like that.
And it can taste good in the process. So obviously over here, these are not food items. These are some of the ways that people manage the disease.
This is whether it's an insulin pump or checking your blood sugar or a continuous glucose monitor. There's all sorts of stuff that comes with having diabetes. I got asked if I was a robot this summer at the pool by a little boy. I told him I was, and he about died. So,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, today we're going to talk about fat, fiber, and protein. That's kind of like my mantra. Anybody I talk to in terms of managing blood sugars after a meal or a snack.
Okay, and we're going to get started with a fat swap. So what are we looking to swap here?
Right, so instead of just doing your plain old bread and butter toast, let's take it up a notch, swap the butter out for some avocado, which have those great good-for-you fats, and they're also a good source of fiber, which a lot of people don't realize. So what I've done here is a piece of whole grain bread topped with half of an avocado, and then we threw a fried egg on there for some additional flavor and protein.
And why is that important, Mary Ellen, to add that fat and protein?
So the fat, fiber, and protein, if you just ate the bread by itself, you get this really rapid rise in blood sugar and then kind of that crashing feeling. But with the fat, fiber, and protein act as a buffer, essentially, on that spike. And so you get this nice blunted response of a blood sugar after a meal.
So you're not going to crash. By the way, you're using one of my favorite Trader Joe's spices. It's the everything. I do put it on everything.
The everything spice?
Yes, that's what I just had on my boiled eggs upstairs.
Everything but the bacon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on, this is a fiber swap.
Right, so fiber and a little bit mix of fat and protein as well, but for snack time, we want to make sure that we're pairing a healthy carbohydrate source with a protein and fiber source, if you will. And so we've got things like, instead of just an apple, do an apple and peanut butter. Instead of just blueberries, do blueberries and cottage cheese. You know, hummus and tortilla, popcorn mixed with some fresh nuts that don't have any sweetener added to them, making sure you're making these combinations that incorporate that fiber and that protein.
And the protein, again, you say is important because that helps stabilize, preventing the spike that we get just from the carbs alone.
Right, so carbohydrates are not bad for you, but
they give us energy.
Right, our body is able to absorb them quickest out of all of our macronutrients, and so that's why you get that kind of rapid blood sugar rise. But protein and fat take a little bit longer, and so it kind of delays that absorption. So you get a nice steady supply of energy. So if you don't have diabetes, that's what can help sustain you too.
Yeah, again, great information we can all use. Okay, next is the protein swap, and this is white rice versus brown rice. We just need to get on the train, right? We should probably all be eating white rice if you're going to eat rice at all. Brown rice.
Yes, so rice can be like a 4-letter word for people with diabetes, essentially. And so instead of white rice, which for me personally is just a disaster every time I eat it, swapped it out for some brown rice, but also mixed it with a higher protein grain like quinoa that mix it together as your base, and then you can add some quality protein, whether it's plant-based protein or a quality source of seafood like salmon or shrimp, and then pile on your vegetables. And I used my ever favorite, the air fryer, to cook those up.
And when you say that white rice is like a 4-letter word for a lot of people living with diabetes, that's because it causes blood sugar to spike immediately, right?
Right. White rice itself is comparatively low in protein, low in fiber, and doesn't have a whole lot of fat in it. And so when you can use brown rice combined with some of those other elements I talked about, you can get that much more blunted response.
That's great. These are all great swaps. Saturday, you have a really cool event going on at Costco.
Yes, Costco Sugarland. We are hosting an in-store scavenger hunt. I'll be leading, and we're going to send people off to find their favorite, my favorite items, giving away some pretty epic prizes. It's a free event. All you have to do is register, though, at milkandhoneynutrition.com/Costco, and it's got all the information, the time, but it's Costco Sugarland.
scavenger hunt at Costco. Sign me
Come
up.
join
One of my
us.
favorite spots. And again, this is all very delicious food, but I think the context is that so many folks living with diabetes, about a third estimated, don't even know they have it.
Right, so roughly about 10% of the American population we estimate has diabetes, but a third of those people don't know that they have it. And so that's why it's vital to go for your yearly checkup, get your doctor to do blood work, because you can often live with diabetes for years and not have a single symptom.
Wow.
Pay attention to your body for sure.
Mary Ellen Phipps, thank you so much for stopping.
Thank you for having me.
Milk and Honey
Always.
Nutrition, by the way, the complete recipes are on our website, houstonlife.tv.